Alright. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review episode 281. We are here discussing episode number 1165 and also chapter 1145. The newest episode of this, The 17-Year-Old Truth, The Perceptive Devil. Yep, that is pretty much basically the name of this episode. I'm just trying to update something on here. I haven't had that in a while. 45. Alright, so this episode for Case Closed, adapted from the rest of Chapter 1004, went through the entirety of Chapter 1005 and went through the first 5 pages of Chapter 1006. Basically, the murder, like a lot of the story here is basically all about a flashback, and basically, Wakabayashi, Remy Wakabayashi, she gets a lot of background development in this arc, and we reveal something about her in this particular episode. By the way, the murder from the previous episode, that's actually wrapped up here. Normally put, that will be the end of the story. Bless you! But the story does continue. It's kind of weird, but this is the first and only story that's ever happened. Because normally put, when you have a story involving a murder, and once the murder is solved, the case is closed, and the story can move on to something else. This one decided to break that formula. I gotta praise the writer for this. This actually was a really cool idea at the time when this came out, like just a couple years ago. So here's what happens. So Conan, thanks to, of course, basically stuff from Sichi, well, is able to figure out, thanks to, like, he does point out, though, who the culprit is, who actually killed the guy in the previous episode. It was the guy who got his hand injured. And apparently, they were able to explain it thanks to Agasa showing up, and this actually was approved by the manager officer to allow him to get there, because McGuire's like, wait, how'd you get here so quickly? How'd you know about this? Well, the hero basically approved of it. So basically, because he's a scientist, he actually can demonstrate this no problem, using something called a Dutch tear, where you boil it really hot and then you crush one tiny bit, it immediately all shatters. And supposedly I got in the guy's cup, and also that the air was planted by him on his own bag. And he killed the guy from the previous episode. And he reveals the reason for this. Apparently, him suggesting that he listened to a song before a match, where this would basically give him a motivation of all this anxiety, because it explained that apparently playing chess made people nervous. That might be the case for some people, but not all of them. I never feel nervous whenever I play chess. I just feel relaxed. I just don't feel much anything when I play chess. I don't feel nervous. I've never felt nervous playing chess. I just basically focus on the game. I never feel nervous at all when I play it. Some people might get that, but not me. So, and it's for he's one who played, because I mentioned last episode that there was this mysterious ringtone about this playing Amazing Grace, a church song. And the guy who committed suicide a year prior was kind of in a way blamed for it. This I think he swore he did not. That was not his phone. He even showed it to the person running the thing. It was not his own. It was not his phone's ring. It was somebody else's phone. And this basically drove the man to suicide because of this one thing. Now, I have heard various reasons in fiction why people go to suicide, but this is by far the most You might think it's quite dumb, but he probably was going through a lot of stress at the time because he probably blew his confidence. He probably was suffering from lack of confidence when it comes to chess, and he just like people were just kind of pointing the fingers at him over a distraction via a phone ring, which he has pointed out multiple times. It was not him. He told the people in charge. He told basically his friend it was not him. It was this other guy who did it. And then the guy apparently he shoots him with a crossbow. Like he shoots him once in the shoulder, once in the thighs. And he left him to die, but he didn't necessarily finish him off. It's implied that he died due to blood loss. They don't say that here. The manga doesn't clearly state the fact he died of blood loss, but the guy is arrested, and of course, basically, Conan is brought before. Basically, they asked basically about this particular picture, about this knight chess piece with a watch around it and has a kiss mark on it. Well, not from the band, an actual kiss from lipstick, and this relates to a case that happened 17 years prior to the series by a woman in America by the name of Amanda Hughes. Now, when I think of 17 years, if you go by the way the show was supposed to be run, if the show was so set in the 1990s, like if we're so set in like 94-ish maybe, because these characters are still in first grade, despite the fact it's been 30 years. If you go about the 17 years format, like let's say if we're in like possibly like spring, probably like like late spring, because the show does not mention the passage of time, and the way the show depicts it is that if it was 17 years prior to the air date, that means it would be in the year 2008 when this flashback happened. Because a lot of the time, basically, when they do these flashbacks, it makes no freaking sense. Like, let's say if this was 17 years prior events of, if you go by what for the start of the series, it would be the late 1970s. It'd probably be, I think it'd be like 1978, presumably. But given the technology they have in the show, that would not make any sense at all. So it's explained that we have where, by the way, we have this. He was actually like inviting of this chess from a friend of his. He was a drunk buddy, and he just happened passed by Amanda Hughes with her bodyguard, who is actually Wakabashi. Yeah, this actually is her. In this flashback, her real name was going to be Rachel Aki. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apparently, her mother was Japanese. That's what she knows, Japanese. And she's the one teaching Amanda Hughes Japanese because Richard spoke English. Of course, also, the English they have in the episode is okay, but I'm sure the English is spoken by someone who actually is a Japanese voice actor doing his best impression of how people speak in English. I'm thinking, why doesn't TBS Entertainment hire an American voice actor to actually do these English lines? It would not be very hard to do. Like, last time I checked, there's nothing against any kind of like union or whatever to go to another country to record lines for, or they can record over here and then send it over to TMS Entertainment and put in the episode. There's nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, they do it here all the time, where they record from home. Well, they were. Then of course they come to. They're not going to do it all the time per se, but I would probably recommend that over a Japanese person. Like, here's the thing. In case you're curious, though, has any kind of Japanese show ever had an American actor appear in it? In the case of anime, well, that's not dubbed. As far as I can tell for anime, no, this has not happened. In the case of live action, yes it has. This happened for one episode of Ninjanger, where it was the actor who played the Blue Ninja Steel Ranger had actually asked to go to Japan to appear in an episode of Super Sentai, which he was allowed to do this, and he paired up as a ninja hunter. And even he questioned why couldn't he use the footage of him in the episode. For like, when the episode they get to, they just skip the footage because reasons. They could have him play himself. But no. Anyway, so then she has a chess match with Koji Hiramata, I think that's how you pronounce his name. This is the same guy who is the non-blood brother of the guy who's Aki's younger brother. Yeah. And they have a chess match. They have like record chess matches. And like, oh, he diagnosed basically what's going on with her. Oh yeah, and also while this is going on, Rum in a car outside where this chess tournament takes place, where it's raining, and he's smoking a cigar in his car, which I can tell basically, I'm glad that the driver has got a piece of glass in front of him, so he doesn't have to smell the cigar smoke. And he contacts Korn and Kachi, I think it's to pronounce her names. Yeah, the Black Organization assassins to presumably kill Wakabashi. Because he suspects this might be the bodyguard he failed to kill 17 years prior to events in the series. But that's the episode. Really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And speaking of Rum, who is actually in this chapter in this undercover identity, we have chapter 1145, A Perilous Reunion. The hidden identity must have been covered. We have Adrian Carmo talking to Rum. He does not know this is Rum at all. The viewer, as a reader and viewer, basically, of the series, yeah. And also the thing mentions, oh yeah, Carmo will be one of the flashback make a hit playing theaters now, which is definitely true because that could explain why I can't find it online because it's still in theaters. Because it came out like 2 months ago and it's not released online for some reason. I'm hoping that they eventually release it. So and of course, see, Waka, he's like, I think I mentioned something before. It seems I was mistaken. I see. I'm sure I mentioned something before. Where exactly? Oh, then he sees that the detective boys are there, and they're like, oh yeah. But it's Philip because basically, I think she might suspect that he might be in a Black Organization. She does not know this is Rum, the second in command of the Black Organization. She does not know that. All she suspects is because of the Black Organization's sense that she has that he might be part of the Black Organization, not the second in command. She does not suspect that at all. She doesn't know that. So then, of course, he gets a phone call. Of course, there's a murder happening. Of course, Takagi and McGuire are here. And so, like, have you heard the gunshot? We just have passed the apartment. We just heard sounds, things breaking one another. And we heard a thumb sound. A knife came out the window. This window. A knife? Yes. Maybe thought there was fighting inside, so it was called out. Is everything alright? Right? Yeah. There was no answer. Waited for a while. Then we heard a gunshot. Rushed over and basically saying, that's when we found this dead body. I see. Before? What's your occupation? I was going to say, isn't a suspect. There's no need to know that. You're right. Of course, he does not want to tell him that Adrian Carmel is an agent of the FBI. Yeah. And of course, they target the three of the people there, and of course, one's a host, like, basically there, and another host who's like looks like a girl, could be a guy. And the one, oh my gosh, like, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, I saw this guy here, like, he looks like the detective who's usually had the chipmunk with him, but no, it's not him, it's a completely different guy. The only reason I suspect this might be the chipmunk detective is because of his face. Yeah, when you see this guy, he looks like the guy who has the chipmunk with him in his pocket. Yes. Who is like his pet. It is interesting though, the writer decided to reuse the character design for this guy. I'm not sure why, but he did. It's just that when I see this guy, I think of the detective who basically made his first Kane appearance in the Kaito arc of the series. But just by sheer coincidence. Oh, come on, stop it. Yeah, so like with liver guy, and of course basically he's here to deliver sushi. Yep. And of course look on the spot, look with a T remote. Always police officer. Yep. The kitchen was also very weird stuff. And of course they go outside and the Conan shows off his awesome observation skills, pointing out the pots and pans, the rice cooker, everything. About everything, like, and by the way, he's not touching anything. Yeah. And he's impressed by observation skills. And this is when he points like, I just love mysteries. Like, I know, son. Usually you would have said something here for Sichi. Yes. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with a child loving mysteries. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just like there's nothing wrong with a little girl who likes to read fashion magazines. Or who loves science. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a kid who likes that. Yeah, Hyra pointed a couple times in the show where like one episode like, wait, why are you reading this? Because I like reading fashion magazines or the fact of science. Simple as that. Yep. Of course, that's about the window, obviously, and of course, like, of course, body check, and of course, basically with the knife. Yep. Of course, when I found the body, and oh, and he picks the pie. Mr. Forensics, could that? Their plastic bottles and caps don't match, right? Yes, the semen couldn't find when it disappeared. The culprit erased the actual time of the crime. Interesting. So, still early in the case, but excellent chapter. I give it a 10 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that is pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. Next up, basically, we have is a comic corner. Okay, next view. Bye.